A chapter for one of our pages in the January 6th riot comes to an end. People watched in shock and awe as the United States Capitol building was attacked. Lives of lawmakers at risk and innocent lives lost.
One man part of the chaos, Christopher Worrell from East Naples. These pictures show the Proud Boy wearing a tactical vest, carrying pepper spray and targeting law enforcement on that day.
Worrell was convicted of his crimes, but hours before he was set to be sentenced last year, he disappeared. For 45 days, the convicted rioter was evading the FBI. The chase ended where it started. Agents found the 52-year-old unconscious on the floor of his East Naples home. And Wink News was there as agents brought him back into custody. Now, nearly 3 years from when the attacks happened, Worrell was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Hello again, I'm Amanda Hall.
And I'm Russ McCaskey. The riot drew a wedge between the country as people picked sides. Now, Wink News reporter Michelle Alvarez joins us live in East Naples with more on what happened in court today.
Russ, in the last hour or so, we learned a judge ordered Christopher Worrell from East Naples to 10 years in prison after his connection to the January 6th Capitol riot. A judge sentenced Christopher Worrell from East Naples, who's connected to the January 6th riot, to 10 years in prison.
If no other message is sent, that the public needs to understand that you will be held accountable for the things that you do.
Worrell was a member of the Proud Boys, and investigators said he targeted law enforcement officers with pepper spray during the January 6th riot. FGCU's David Thomas is a former police in criminal justice.
You know, in the old days, if you committed an act of treason, it would be death. It would be sentenced by death. Today, it's where, we're much more lenient, or we respect life more.
Federal investigators say Worrell cut off his GPS ankle monitor in a Walmart parking lot and fled his home in August. His flight triggered an FBI manhunt that culminated 6 weeks later in his arrest at his East Naples home. Bob Foley is an attorney and retired FBI.
It'll receive broad exposure, and a message will be sent that absconding in the face of a benefit to report to sentencing is not something that will be tolerated.
I talked with UCF political professor Aubrey Jewett. He said this case has really exposed the split between Republicans and Democrats.
But like I said, you do have a lot of Republicans, Trump supporters in particular, who really just don't believe that at all. And they probably believe that this guy shouldn't have been convicted, and if he was convicted, he should get a very light sentence.
And court records do show that law enforcement and doctors believed Worrell overdosed on opioids. The sheriff's office also had to pay more than $5,000 in overtime labor and were billed all of Worrell's medical expenses. I'm live in East Naples, Michelle Alvarez, Wink News.
Joe, thanks. Several other people in Southwest Florida have been charged with crimes related to the January 6th insurrection. Daniel Scott of Inglewood was sentenced to 60 months in prison for his involvement in the riots. A member of the Proud Boys, he was among the first group of rioters to enter the Capitol building. And David Marshall, a member of the Oath Keepers from Punta Gorda. Marshall is serving 3 years in prison for seditious conspiracy, the most serious charge related to the attack. According to the courts, he helped stash guns in a Virginia hotel.